Hi, I'm Sleepy, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, things look very different from my last videos, and that's because I'm doing a bit of a refresh. New assets, new sprites, new vibe, I guess you could say. This actually took a lot to prepare, which is part of why it took so long to get another video out. But I'm so proud of the results, and I'm so excited to expand upon my asset library. If you'd like me to do a video about the progress in creating all of this, as well as the lore behind my persona, please let me know. The lore is kind of similar to my original, but just with a new coat of paint. Pun intended. Um, as you can see, I have a sort of art and paint theme, and I promise it'll make sense with the lore. I'll get to it eventually, okay? This video actually also ended up having an additional challenge that I did not originally intend for. Basically, my Apple Pencil decided to leave the world of the living, and I, a wee commission artist, had no money to replace it. So I had to do all of the art here with my finger, which was not fun. I haven't drawn with my finger since I was probably in middle school, question mark? So it was nostalgic, but at the same time, I do not want this for me. I respect all the artists who draw with their fingers. It is not for me. I do not like it. My joints hurt. But the real challenge of this video was a character design challenge, this time with the focus being fruit. Originally, this theme was supposed to be fruity berries and not fruity FAE, but I'll get into it later. The fairy thing just did not work out. So we have FAE. It's all so cute though, I promise. So for today's video, I have 3 character designs for you. And the first one we have up is Grape. This one was kind of the spark for this entire video. I randomly came up with this idea and decided why not expand upon it and do an entire video based on this concept. Like I said, this was the first idea I came up with, and therefore I already had a silhouette in mind, so it was really easy to just jump straight into sketching. For basically this entire drawing, I was watching Chatty Mia's video on Lore Olympus, and I think that really seeped into the design because she ended up having a very Greek-inspired fit. I don't think it was planned from the start, but once I discovered this route, I ended up really leaning into it, and I figured it sort of worked because when I think of grapes, I think of wine, I think of vineyards, I think of Greece, I think of Italy. So I think it worked out. I guess you can be the one to decide that. The poofy dress was also inspired by a dress in the live-action School for Good and Evil movie. That movie was a mess, and as a reader of the books, I despise it, but the fits were fitting, and I just couldn't help but take inspo. This character, I feel like she was just very easy. I think the hardest part, honestly, was just having to adjust to drawing with my fingers, which was, like I said earlier, it's not for me. I do not like it. My joints are hurting. This character was just, I feel like there's just like, she's so easy. She was such an easy character. The second I thought of Grape character, I thought of the the big poofy, like, you know, bubble braids or bubble puffs, I guess, in this case, to really refer back to the Grape silhouette. Line art, again, I feel like it was just very easy here. The characters later on were much harder to figure out. I think I just had like a lot less planning going into it, but our Grape character was pretty easy. I gave her these big round earrings to once again tie back into the Grape theme. I tried to incorporate as many round shapes as possible, and that's why she sort of ended up having these big bug eyes that kind of gave me trouble later. I went back and forth a bit on whether or not to redo her face because of said bug eyes, but I decided against it. And also originally she was gonna have ballet flats, but I decided to make her barefoot, which, you know, I don't draw feet on purpose really, because I'm afraid if I draw them well, then people will think things. So I honestly just did not try on those. I ended up just copy and pasting the toes, which led to one of the feet being backwards, but I just cannot bring myself. I just cannot bring myself to care, honestly. I went back and forth on what to do for like the vines, because I really wanted to have vines incorporated in her design, because once again, grapes, vineyards, vines, yeah, you get the energy. Also, originally her bracelets were going to have grape gems, but I decided to just leave it with a cutout. So, like I said, I was watching Chatty Mia's Lore Olympus video, which is really good, by the way. I'll have to link that somewhere. And I think that also gave me some inspiration when it comes to the color palette and the general illustration style. I wanted to lean into something very almost painterly, sort of with a watercolor sort of feel. I ended up adding an overlay later, and that really just helped me get into the zone and helped me feel more free and helped me embrace the messiness that was coming from me drawing with my finger and, you know, not being used to it. It took me a bit to get settled into that, but once I was settled into that style, the later rendering processes became way more easy. I have a really good like watercolor brush, and I'll maybe try to link that if I can find the original source. But that brush, like, it kind of carried this piece, honestly. Like, it changed the direction. Once I started using that brush for the shading, it changed the direction, because rendering this dress, I did not know what I was doing, because usually I have a certain process and I just can't do said process with my fingers, like without the pen pressure, you know. And some of my favorite brushes just don't work as well when you're not using the Apple Pencil or a stylus with pen pressure. So it was kind of frustrating, but I hope things worked out well. Here you can see me adding some green at the tips of the dress from her like straps, and that also helped. Once again, leaning more into the watercolor feel, trying to add more texture overall, and just trying to do more. Again, I'll really have to see if I can find the source for that brush, because it was a game changer. And this kind of gave me the same feeling as when I used to do watercolor back in high school, a little bit of middle school, inspired by the YouTuber Tomatica and her speed painter and sketchbooks. And I'd love to do a watercolor video again, because I haven't touched it in years, probably since high school. But yes, you can really see this texture come alive, and I think you can see me fiddling with these freaking eye highlights. But we're really just getting into the end of this design. I feel like this one was very like cut and dry. It was easy, it was simple. So there's our grape FAE. Honestly, the only thing I have to say here is the hardest part of her and her process was just figuring out what to say in that time lapse, honestly. She doesn't have a name, none of these characters do, so feel free to suggest some. I like puns, so, you know, lean into that if you want. Let's get straight into the next one. Our second FAE is inspired by dragon fruit. Like I mentioned before, I had less of an idea going into the rest of these. Oh wow, the southern accent really jumped out. But I had less of an idea going into these, so this was the one I had to do some concept sketches on. I figured I'd lean more into a princess route than an actual dragon route, but I'd still try to, you know, do some sharpness to her, some edginess. I feel like she low-key is giving like Venus flytrap, which, you know, wasn't intentional, but I feel like it worked. So, you know, this one, I honestly, my sketch, I hated it, but I tried to make it work, and then it just didn't work, and then I was just trying to make it work, and I ended up making it work. Again, the wings, okay. So in like all of these except for the last one, I think that's when I finally gave up. I kept trying to add wings, they weren't working, which is why these ended up just being fae and not fairies, because the wings just, I don't know, I think I'm not a wing girly. I think Maximum Ride like traumatized me, and it like made me hate wings in character designs, other than like Hawks from My Hero Academia. He can have wings, but the rest, you don't get wings. Again, I struggled a lot with the pose here. It took me a while to settle on something, and I don't know why this looks so choppy on my end. That's a little scary. That's concerning. But whatever, I guess. When it comes to red and green in character design, I always struggled to make it not look like Christmas. So I tried my best. I feel like it's still giving sort of Christmas, honestly. I feel like she's giving evil Christmas queen or Christmas elf or something, and I don't think the white accent from the inner part of the fruit helps. It probably makes it worse actually, but I tried. Okay, I tried to like break things up because her skin tone was very red tone, so I tried to break things up with giving her some scales on the forehead and a little bit on her one clawed hand thing. This is like absolutely not related, but in case you cared about what I was watching a video about Grace from Nerdy Prudes Must Die. It's a really good musical and stage production. You should go watch it actually. But yeah, that's what I was watching while doing this. I don't think it like affected anything, but you know, just in case you care. I feel like this one, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think she turned out fine, but I think I struggled a bit because I had like a clear vision, but my brain, it was hard to get the vision out onto the canvas. I wanted to lean into the princess theme. I figured, okay, maybe like it's giving like Fiona from Shrek. Maybe she turned into a dragon. Maybe that's the thing here. Maybe she, I don't know. Maybe she's a changeling. Because I was trying to figure out like, okay, if these are gonna be FAE, like what are they? And I figured maybe she'd be a changeling. And I don't know if any of that came across, but you know, I tried. So, all right, there's our dragon fruit FAE, our second out of 3, which means we're leading up into our final. Once again, these characters don't have names, so you know, give them names. Feel free to even come up with lore if you want, because the only one I even have any sort of actual lore for is our last one. Speaking of, let's get into that. Our third and final FAE is Starfruit. I partially lied when I said I had no idea, because I did, because originally I was gonna do banana for my final fruit, but it was not working. Maybe I'll do another round and try and finish her, but banana was just not working. So I switched to Starfruit because I still wanted to do a yellow fruit. And this one's funner anyways. My idea going into this was Starfruit gyaru, but like a beachy gyaru. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not well versed in gyaru like subcultures, but you know, that was the vibe. Very much sun-kissed, beach, free-flowing, cutesy. Yeah, I feel like she was really easy. I think her actual sketching process was probably the fastest one. And in general, I think her design is the most well-rounded. She's just really fun, you know, really fun beachy gal, like, you know. Originally I just had her in a bikini, but I decided to add some like cover up type of things around her waist and her shoulders for some, you know, additional fun. I low-key think she's giving like rave energy partially. Do you get what I mean? It's giving like she's going to a music festival. Like she was definitely at Coachella. She definitely saw ATs at Coachella, and she definitely loved it. She definitely loved it. She's an 18 because I say so. I just decided that's her lore now. She's a water nymph who on occasion travels to human society to go to fun festivals and parties, and yeah, that's the vibes. For the thing I was watching for this one, I was watching Athena P's video about descendants. So again, I don't know if anyone cares, and I don't know what this says about me, but you know, I love watching video essay type of content, and I'd love to do one in the future, specifically about Maximum Ride, because I'm a loser who's still holding on to middle school loves. Now moving on to the coloring, I think I went back and forth a bit on her outfit, but this one was pretty easy because Starfruit are mainly just yellow and green. There might be some hints of brown or whatever, but you know, I just leaned into the warm tones. Tried to incorporate some accent colors like pink and blue later on, just because I feel like it was just boring with just the yellow and the green, you know. So I tried to do something more. Especially because I feel like when I think of gyaru, I think of pink. A lot of gals have pink like incorporated into their look, into their style, or they have some other like bold accent color, and I decided on pink because pink and orange just look great together in general. Like, I don't know what to tell you. With her hair, low-key I might change it, but not too much. I think I'd want to give her pigtails instead of like the one high ponytail. I would like a little flower bow, but I'd like to give her pigtails instead, maybe, or like a half up half down. Oh, I didn't think she looked magical enough, so I made her eye like all black with like a star in one eye, because I thought, you know, that's magical. It's giving magic. I also tried to, you know, add some scales onto her because, again, I didn't feel like the sea sort of theme was expressed enough other than like the bikini vibes. Of course, you know, she's a gyaru. I gotta give her makeup. You know, I gotta give her some fun makeup. So I of course had to do that. Also made the tips of her ears like a bright yellow. I might do that with her fingertips. Honestly, I might go back and I don't know. I feel like if I turn her into an OC, she's probably the one I'm most likely to turn into one. Honestly, if I turn her into an OC, I'd love to go back and add yellow to her fingertips as well. I don't think I mentioned it in the last ones, but if you're wondering, the brush I use for the background is the same watercolor brush I've been raving about. And here we have it, our final FAE, our little water nymph. I don't know what the first one is, but she's definitely a water nymph. You know, she has to be. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed, you know, not something different, but I hope you enjoyed my little rebrand. I hope you enjoyed seeing my new sprites at work. I still have a lot more I want to make, but I just can't right now. You know, I need to get things out. I'll eventually, you know, improve my little asset library. Once again, my commissions are open. If you'd like to support me, if you'd like to help me out with getting more videos out, you know, give me ideas. I have a list, but, you know, I suddenly decide that I hate every idea I've ever come with, so I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much if you've made it this far in this video. Please leave a like, please subscribe, please give me a nice comment. It feeds my fragile little sense of self-worth. And again, feel free to give these girls some names, you know. If I find names in the comments, I'll be sure to, you know, comment under my pinned comment with whatever names we decided. As for lore, again, feel free to give them some lore. You want to make them girlfriends? Tell me why. Who should kiss? But yeah, thank you so much, and have a lovely, lovely day.